My name is Ryan Miller, and for the past 15 years, I've helped hundreds of people to raise millions of dollars for their funds and for their startups. If you're serious about raising money, launching your business, or taking your life to the next level, this show will give you the answers so that you too can enjoy your pursuit of making billions. Let's get into it.
Have you ever wondered how these massive companies generate world-class sales online? Or perhaps you're a private equity investor that needs special due diligence on potential targets, e-commerce, and web funnels. Well, in this week's episode of Making Billions, I bring on my dear friend, Matt Ranta. Matt is the head of practice at an e-commerce due diligence firm called Nimble Gravity. Join Matt and I as we discuss the key things you can do to unlock massive value in your own e-commerce company or target firms for you private equity carnivores out there. Performing proper due diligence while increasing sales conversion rates are all skills we need in our pursuit of making billions. Here we go. Hey, welcome to another episode of Making Billions. I'm your host, Ryan Miller, and today I have my dear friend, Matt Ranta. Matt is a partner and head of practice of e-commerce and digital transformation at Nimble Gravity. His work helps private equity fund managers to find areas of profit and loss through digital operations. So what this means is that Matt and his firm support private equity firms in performing due diligence on their investments to improve ROI and exit multiple on those investments. So Matt, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Ryan. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Fan of the show. Great opportunity to come on and talk with your audience. I'm excited for it.
Man, yeah, thank you. You're very kind. It's certainly great to have someone on the tech side and helping people. My understanding is that people come to you and your firm, Nimble Gravity, to help them when they're looking at an acquisition of a company, and they just need to pull in those special teams to do a little additional specialized due diligence. So I know we're going to talk about that and some of the key factors when exploring due diligence. But before we get into that, maybe you can tell us and our fans around the world, where did it start for you? How did you even become an expert in this industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to share that story. So let's go all the way back to early 1998. I've graduated as an art major about a year ago. And quite honestly, the college made me declare a major. I was, kind of a little bit listless there. And now fast forward and I'm working at Vans, not the shoe company, but an employee-owned consumer electronics and major appliance retailer in the state of Montana. And I've worked my way up through customer service to being one of the top salespeople in the organization to actually managing one of the stores. And the store that I happen to fall in charge of is in a place called Hamilton, Montana. Now, Hamilton's like a sleepy retirement community. And for a guy in his early 20s, wasn't really the best fit. And I happened to hear around that same time that as a company, we're getting ready to go online. We're building a website. And I know that e-commerce is going to be huge. So I asked if there's anything that I can do to help. And fortunately, there was. I got asked to help create and fill out the databases that we're going to use to power the website and create dynamic product pages. So being bored to death in a small town, I gladly took on an extra task. I figured that it might turn into something in the future. And lo and behold, I reach a breaking point in Hamilton, Montana, where quite honestly, the average age is 50. My young social self in my 20s is heading out constantly back to my college town, 45 minutes away. And I line up another job. And, before taking off, I go to the company that I'm working for and I'm like, guys, I can't be in Hamilton, Montana anymore. Please, for the love of God, can you help me? Is there a job that I can do back here at the home ship? If not, it's okay. I've got something else that'll cover me, but please. And they did. And it happened to be come join the e-commerce team, which was 4 or 5 people at the time. And we did literally everything. And I mean, totally everything, right? Like you're answering the phones, you're on a call with somebody, you run down to the warehouse, you're handwriting shipping labels because we didn't even have a printer for the UPS labels at that point in time. You're checking in a return that somebody brought to you. You're learning about a new marketing opportunity, like, hey, take a data feed and put it on this website and we'll show all your products. And we're like, okay, what's a data feed? Like, we got to figure that out. Oh, you just need an Excel file, a CSV. Okay, great. We could do that. And so you start putting those things up and you're going for it. And then eventually I become the manager of those e-com operations. We grow that to a point where we need to specialize. Like there needs to be an overarching general manager. There needs to be an operations person. There needs to be marketing folks, all these kinds of things. And I say, give me the marketing because I love it. And I start doing that, and I eventually start running all the marketing for the entire organization, both digital, traditional, so doing radio, newspaper, all these kinds of things. And then after about 13 years, 2011, it's time for a new challenge for me. I moved to Denver. I work at several companies. I've done things like creating websites for franchisees of Cricket Wireless to buy fixtures and security devices, helping launch iPhone into prepaid wireless, consulting for solar companies, running a B2B e-commerce marketplace for Aero Electronics, one of the largest electronic component distributors in the world, and then working in mobile ad tech and mobile marketing. And now we're present day. I'm taking all those 24 years of experience across all the different formats of digital business and types of e-commerce and helping other people to grow their business and operations through Nimble Gravity and what we do.
What a journey. And you were, I love that you called the mothership and was like, get me out of here. So not that there's anything wrong with I love Montana. I actually live quite close to it in the Rocky Mountains and the forest. I absolutely love, but it's not for everybody, right? No place is. So, you did what you came to do and you moved on and you allowed your experience to carry you forward. Speaking of carrying you forward, so now I think you said you're around 24 years experience now in this sector. So, there's not a lot that can get past you now. So you have Nimble Gravity, and maybe you can talk a little bit about what it is and specifically how does that relate from what it is, what it does, and how does that relate to private equity firms doing their due diligence?
Yeah, absolutely. Be more than happy to. So at a high level, Nimble Gravity is a consultancy that is passionate about the power of data. We have an internal saying that data is greater than opinions. We work in data science, e-commerce, digital transformation, engineering, analytics, and strategy. And we can do anything from working like C-level experts on a fractional basis to helping build actual solutions that get handed over to a business. We build and run teams that are embedded in businesses or that are helping them to develop, their mobile app, their web app, whatever it might be, and solving really tough challenges. In specific to private equity, a lot of the stuff we do is due diligence. And that is obviously the process of going and vetting a company before an acquisition or investment, whatever it might be, to make sure that everything's going right. And we do that from all of those fronts. But typically for me, obviously, it's in the e-commerce and digital transformation areas. And then I think what's really important and makes us stand out is that we're true veteran operators of businesses, right? Not everybody in your audience is going to see the video of this, but there's a lot of gray in my beard, right? And there's a lot of gray in the beards of the folks that we work with. And so we take that experience and couple that with teams that are ready to execute. And we not only design a strategy or design a solution, but we create it and hand it over to the end user, the end company.
And one of the things that we talked about when it comes to doing like a digital audit, digital due diligence, these are the things that a lot of private equity firms say, hey, we're going to buy this e-commerce thing or something with some kind of digital sales platform.
Yep.
We're finance guys or whatever it is, we need absolute expertise. Please come in and do a digital audit. What are some of those things that entail a digital audit on a company that's about to get acquired? What would you do?
Sure. We'd come in and we'd look at the speed, the performance, the SEO, the backlink profiles. What are they doing in paid search? Are they optimized for all of their keywords? Do their competitors have keywords that they're bidding on that those people aren't? What are they doing in social commerce? Is their email program and platform best in class? What's going on there? And the reason that we do all those things and get really granular with them is they're actually super meaningful in the profitability of the organization. I think I've shared this statistic with you before, but an 8% conversion rate increase can happen just because you improve the performance and speed of the website by as little as 100 milliseconds. So that's a tenth of a second. And you can get 8% climb in your conversion rate, right? Who doesn't want that? And there are very simple things that you can go and do to fix that. But in my experience, looking at hundreds and hundreds of websites, there are so many people that are just not executing in all of these areas and they need help. And that's a way to drive growth into the digital operations of a new company.
So you mentioned all these areas. How many areas do you guys explore when someone hires you?
It depends on what that individual organization is looking for. They might want, hey, go look at SEO, paid search, performance. We don't really care about the social, but it can be up to, say, 20 different areas. And we might do even a UI UX audit that has nearly 300 points where we're going into a website and checking across all of those different areas. Are they executing on, point 1? Are they doing point 276, right? And figuring all that out.
Wow. Okay. So it can, 10, 20, sometimes 2, up to 300 on certain areas, depending on what you're hired to do. Wow. So very thorough. So that's exactly, if I hired you and wanted someone to go through it, I would want someone covering like 300 and really go through it with a fine-tooth comb. So, now that we're talking about your due diligence process and all the value that you can create for private equity investors, and even startup founders who are building that, might as well do it right and just have a pro like you with those 24 years of experience, just kind of that steady guiding hand. Now, talking about steady guiding hand, do you have an example of any companies that you worked with that you did help to increase the value?
Yeah, I can give you a couple. Some of them we can't really talk about. You keep a lot of things private and close to the vest in a lot of these instances. But one company that I'll mention to you is an organization called Earth Ranger. And this is a company that's part of Paul Allen's AI2, which is the Allen Institute for Artificial Intelligence. So AI twice, right? And Earth Ranger is a real-time software solution that aids protected area managers, ecologists, wildlife biologists, folks like that need to make informed decisions, right? You've got a very small number of people managing an extremely large area of land, and they have to make operational decisions all the time for wildlife conservation purposes. So we help them develop a solution that collects, integrates, displays all of the historical data and all the real-time data about the protected area that they're working on. So this has everything like where's the wildlife, where the ranger patrol is happening, what's the spatial data, what are the observed threats, right? Like, do you see or hear things in the environment that you can collect with IoT devices that are going to trigger you as a, conservation specialist to go out and address an issue, right? Do you see a vulture circling a kill? Are you going to go out and take care of that before poachers go out to see if that's an elephant that they can steal the ivory off of? What are you doing? So this is a real solution that is out there helping to protect wildlife right now. And we helped grow their development velocity by around 400% and created both front and back end mobile and web experiences. And it's a super cool thing, right? I really love it. Another one that, I can't divulge names about, but as a cool case study, is an organization that happens to do some flower sales. They power, 10,000 or more websites with their software. And they've done numerous experiments with their user experience, their pricing, their assortment over time. But when we assessed the organization, we really still saw an opportunity for upside there. So we went in and implemented an A/B testing framework. We connected that obviously with their Google Analytics reporting. We worked with UX designers to create a new high-performing shopping experience. And then we iterated on those UX improvements to statistically, improve conversion rates. And within 6 weeks, we had created a 50% uplift in sales.
The way, this is a very crude example, but another way that, because we got private equity investors of every flavor in 100 countries, so there's a very broad viewpoint on here. The way I could see it is essentially, if I really give a crude example, is like House Flipper. They could say, no, I want some things with problems because I get a good deal, but then I also need to go know the contractor of my dreams who can like turn this piece of garbage place that was totally neglected and put some love and money into this thing. And boy, are we going to make a good return for ourselves and for our investors.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah. And so you find these companies that, did their best, but, there's a lot. This is not just build a website and people just start buying it. I mean, I'd say that's the exception. For the rest of us, e-commerce is a real business that requires real execution on solid strategies, and those take a lot of work. And so bringing Matt and Nimble Gravity in can help you. So if you buy these kind of
little slightly neglected or greatly neglected companies, and you bring in Matt, they can open this thing up and say, hey, great, you got it for that. We're going to get you sales and juice your exit multiple. So these are some of the strategies that a lot of private equity investors do. They bring efficiencies, just like house flippers. They can totally improve an entire neighborhood through you. And on an e-commerce side, private equity investors, when you're partnered together, you can totally improve a small sector. So wonderful work. Now, as we round third base and we look at, we've talked about what you do and how you got started and what made you an expert. Let's talk about a couple of things. I'm wondering if you can share with us. First component are, what are some areas that you've learned, maybe some hot tips that people can really take away and just learn from you, and maybe they can reach out later? That's number one. Number two, what are some companies from all your expertise? Is there a company that you admire? So let's start with number one, some of those key takeaways that you find interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the very first thing I'm going to point to is that topic we were talking about just a little bit ago, improving site speed. So 100 millisecond improvement in speed equals an 8% increase in conversion rates. And this is not me making numbers up. This is research that Google did with Deloitte, right? Like this is proven,
serious stuff,
been validated and verified. So how do you increase your speed like that, right? So there are ways to go and monitor and measure your website, page speed testing that can be done, and it's free. Right?
Yep.
Like it doesn't cost a ton of money, and it'll go and tell you the exact problems that your website has that are creating a slow experience, right?
Where do they go for that? Do you have a website that you can recommend?
Yep. It's PageSpeed.
Okay.
.web.dev.
Okay. PageSpeed.web.dev.
Yep.
So this can help you assess your any issues, but also performance.
Right. You type your website in, you type a competitor's website in, because you can get some interesting competitive intelligence that way, right?
Yep.
But you type your website in, and it will spit out a couple things. One of them is about core web vitals, but the other is about speed. And speed actually impacts core web vitals too, because they measure what's going on across a few different areas. But let's get back to the speed thing.
Sure.
So what are some things that you can do to change and improve the speed of your website? You can have modern image formats, right? Like this is extremely simple. People are still arguing about whether it's GIF or GIF, and whether they should use a JPEG or what. And the reality of it is that there are now WebP images and AVIF images, and their compression techniques make them about half the size of any of those other image types that we all used to talk about. And that makes your site faster. Removing unused code makes your site faster. All these kinds of things. That website will tell you where those problems are, and then you can go and find somebody to help you correct them right away. So that's the number one thing that I would say.
Wow.
The next one is I would get into your SEO profile, and you might do a couple different things here, like surfacing your content. Even that image thing that I was telling you about just a second ago will help your SEO profile. But one of the things I don't think a lot of people pay attention to that they really should pay attention to is what's known as disavowing bad backlinks. And this is a really easy process. You can go and figure out your domain toxicity of a website using a variety of different tools. SEMrush is a good one for this. And then you can go back and look at who's a bad link sending traffic or linking to my site in any way, shape, or form. So what do I mean by bad link? So have you ever been to a website that's just like a list of URLs, like just never ending scrolling of URLs that
Totally.
It's useless. You would never go there, right? Like it's a link farm, right? So that's a bad link. And what's happening is if you're associated with that and you're not monitoring it, it's like being associated with the kid at high school that used to hide a bottle of liquor in his locker and drink between classes.
Yeah.
Right? Like
what could go wrong?
Nobody wants to be associated with that kid. So like you got to go in and kind of disavow these bad backlinks and tell Google, hey, I don't approve of this link. I don't know why they're listing me. Please pay no attention to it. And you bring your reputation up and disassociate yourself from that person. So that's the second one that I would say. And then really the third one is oh my gosh, can you people go use all the new social channels? And they're not that new either, really, if we're being honest about it. But so many brands are not participating in places like Instagram. They're definitely not participating in places like Reddit or TikTok. And they totally should. And the reason for that is, guess what? Your customers are there. The Pew Research Center has done research about this. Plenty of people have, like, literally all age groups are on all these platforms. They might not be, 50% of the traffic that platform has, but there's a meaningful number of your customers that exist on that platform. Now, why did I say TikTok with such emphasis? Well, guess what? It's got the best algorithm of any social algorithm that has ever existed in time. More hours of video and clips and things have been watched on there than ever before. So it's more fine-tuned at delivering the content that people are really, truly interested in to them in that moment in time. So, hey, if your father, grandfather, whoever is interested in classic cars, and that's the kind of content that they're looking, and you're in the classic car business, guess what? Your content is going to get served up to them. They're not going to see ice bucket challenges and weird dances and, the latest, greatest lipstick or whatever it might be. They're going to get classic car content. And so you don't have to worry about that. Also, guess what? Younger generations, they don't go to Google anymore. Guess where they go?
I'm assuming TikTok?
TikTok.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, totally TikTok, right? Like they want that feedback from their social community that says, hey, I use this product. Here's what I think about it. Here's my opinion. And they search there. They are not going on to Google and typing in, give me reviews of the new Gucci handbag, right?
Yeah.
Like they're like, who's wearing this? Who's using this? Who's doing something with this? Who actually physically has tried this product and can vouch for it? I want to see it. And that's what's going on. So those are my three things. Go and improve your page speed, disavow your bad backlinks, and start using those new social channels.
Man, phenomenal. So those are all things, actionable items. You gave us a few websites that you can go to actually get that done. So thank you for that. And the final thing is, now that you understand this industry, I'm sure you see darlings like everybody who has that trained eye. We can see the things that people that are really nailing it. Is there a company that you admire? And, if you, let me rephrase it. If you could invest in this company, whichever one you're about to say, which one would you invest in? And just before you answer, I need to clarify, this is not investment advice. It's just merely Matt's opinion. Whether it's right or wrong, it's just his opinion.
Thanks for that. This is my cool opinion, not investment advice.
We're not giving investment advice. It's entertainment purposes only. All right. Lawyers are happy.
There's this awesome product and a fantastic website that goes with it that's called Lumi Keys. It's Lumi Keys. The website is PlayLumi, PLAYLUMI.com. And their parent company is a company called Roli, ROLI. They make music equipment. But what Lumi Keys does is they have gamified piano and learning piano. And they've done a great job with social selling and social commerce. Guess what channels they're on? Yep, they're on Instagram. They're on TikTok. Yeah, exactly. And they are targeting people who have a musical background and have said in their profile, I'm a musician, or have shown by, in the algorithm looking at, other musical related videos. And so they're showing their ads to those people and they're connecting with their audience in the right way, right? And then when you hit their website, it's very straightforward. It has testimonials from actual customers that talk about how the product has impacted either their life as wanting to learn the piano, or whoever they bought it for, kid, husband, wife, brother, sister that wanted to learn. And that's fantastic, right? As a social proof point. They've streamlined and made the process extremely simple to just buy. It's right there at the top center of the website when you go to the product page, and then the checkout process, extremely streamlined, very easy. And then the app that comes with the keyboard is super cool. So what happens is the keyboard lights up on the keys where you're supposed to go and play the note as the song is playing, and inside the app that's connected with it, it's coming at you at the key. Like you put an iPad up with it and you watch it. So I got 2 of these things. We unboxed them. I kid you not, my daughter sat down and played piano for an hour and a half, and she like instantly went to becoming addicted to wanting to learn and play the piano, versus like you talk to so many people who have ever had to learn piano and they're like, oh my God, my lessons were horrible. It sucked. Right. Like, so I would 100% put some money into that company because I think they're doing things right. And it's also just a super cool product.
Awesome. And have you invested in that company?
Not yet.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, I think we need to clarify that. Yeah, so neither of us own any interest in that company. So
Correct.
That's just a company that emulates exactly all the stuff, the best practices that you talked about. You said, hey, if you want to see it all happening in a company or as much as any company can, that might be a great place to start. Yeah. So, as we wrap things up, I'm just going to condense everything, follow Matt's advice. If you're a private equity investor, even venture capital, or even an entrepreneur that's following in the steps of many e-commerce giants that have started, there are ways you can do this to beat your competitor. Improve your site speed, dismantle your backlinks to improve your SEO, and use those new social channels, new-ish social channels. Understanding sales, improving your speed, and implementing conversion rates are all those skills that we need in our pursuit of making billions.
What a show. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Now, if you haven't done so already, be sure to leave a comment and review on new ideas and guests you want me to bring on for future episodes. Plus, why don't you head over to YouTube and see extra takes while you get to know our guests even better. And make sure to come back for our next episode where we dive even deeper into the people, the process, and the perspectives of both investors and founders. Until then, my friends, stay hungry, focus on your goals, and keep grinding towards your dream of making billions.